Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a video here to talk about Transformers Armada, which is an anime. Not just an animated show or animated series, it's an anime from overseas. Does the original Transformers G1, does that count as anime? I don't know. I've never asked. I never even realized that it was a Japanese cartoon that was also American, or vice versa. I don't know. But I've always wondered about that. So anyway, Transformers Armada is, to me, personally, Transformers. This is what I think of when I think of Transformers. To this day, I still have quite a few toys, including an Optimus Prime smaller figure, behind me right now from this show and the model of Optimus here, which is probably my favorite Optimus of all time. I know, it's heresy to say that, but get over it. You know what I mean? So I guess to begin this review, I'll talk a little bit about Transformers in general. Now, of course, you have G1, which is like the only other cartoon I saw aside from Energon. I'll talk about Energon in a moment. But G1 I only saw the pilot of. I actually recently bought the complete series because I'm pretty sure with the style of 80s cartoons and that show in particular that I would like it a lot more. Plus I love the Transformers movie, which I grew up with. It was absolutely phenomenal. And then the Michael Bay films, and like the series that pretend not to be movies made like his, I have particular favorites, even though that series doesn't really honor Transformers all that much, depending on what we're talking about. Particularly with Michael Bay's, though, it's kind of a little wobbly, if you will. You would be surprised which of the live-action movies are absolutely ones that I adore and I have watched over and over again. Maybe sometime soon I'll cover that, but I don't own all those films because of how bad most of them are. There's some like Last Night that I haven't seen since I saw it for the first time because I hate it so much. I think it's the case for most people, but but Armada is personally my favorite Transformers show of all time, and Transformers thing in general. The toys that came out with this show were just magnificent. I mean, magnificent figures, man. And they were cheap at the time, too, for what they were. And they were great, and I still have my Optimus Prime toy from this show that I got for my birthday years ago, that I even have a photo of my dad and I when I got it, when I had just opened it up, got everything assembled, was playing around with this thing because I loved this show so much. This will always be Transformers for me. It's part of like a trilogy of shows, though. You have Armada as the first season of this. You have a second season, kind of like in the way Power Rangers did things, where like Mighty Morphin, Zeo, and Turbo all kind of have same characters from each of those seasons connecting and showing up again, and cameos and so on and so on. And kind of all of Power Rangers does that, but particularly those three seasons are how I can use as an example for how Armada, then another show, Energon, which is total shit, and I think the third show is called Cybertron, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong about that. Don't hold me to the fire on that. I didn't see Cybertron as far as I know. I think I have one Optimus toy from that show. But Energon I did see. I think I watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes of that back in the day. And it completely turned me off from Transformers. Until Michael Bay's movie, like 5 years down the road. Yeah, I would buy a toy here and there, but Energon was a special kind of bullshit. For anybody who doesn't know, this show, being an anime, is pretty much always hand-drawn animation with a little bit of CGI touch-ups here and there, but very, very rarely, like in the Cowboy Bebop way. Energon is like Dragon Ball Super Superhero, where the entire thing is made of CGI, 3D animation. And it's awful. It's absolutely awful. I hate Energon. And it feels good to me, by the way, to have this validation, to look online and see Transformers fans still hate Energon to this day. I was a kid when Energon came out. I think I had just turned 9 or 10 when that show came out, if I remember correctly. And it was so bad that it made me quit watching Transformers until Michael Bay's movie. And it kind of made me like put off from everything. You know? Energon was garbage from what I remember. And I know it's like on Tubi and stuff, but maybe I'll try it out at some point. I liked Beast Wars back in the day. That was pretty good too. I don't remember much of it, but I loved Beast Wars when I was a kid. I had a few toys from that. I was still too young to really have a lot of that stuff. And I haven't watched Beast Wars since it came out live on TV every week. So it's been a while. I want to get all those seasons. They're kind of expensive. I think all that show's on Tubi too, though, so maybe I'll try to watch it. I don't know. But anyway, there's a lot of things that I have to tell you about Armada. Favorite characters, favorite music moments and stuff. There's a lot to love about this show, but you have to go into this show understanding what it actually is. Even though I use the word anime, a lot of people, when they hear an American tell another American that this is an anime, they're probably thinking on the level of something like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto, where you're so connected to these characters that you tear up at times. And I did tear up a couple of times out of nostalgia, and a couple of really great character scenes for a character that I will talk about later in this show. But outside of that, it's not really it's not something that's going to hit you the way Naruto or Dragon Ball does. It just isn't. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be. This is clearly a show, number one, to sell toys just like Transformers always was, live action, cartoons, any of that. But number two, it's clearly meant for kids. And being a kid when this came out, it was amazing for me. Being an adult now who's looking at it in hindsight, yeah, I see some flaws. Yeah, there's a lot of repetitive feeling to it. A lot of the episodes kind of run together for me. There's not a whole lot of... all the episodes are almost standalone until towards the end of the show. Not a whole lot of character arcs are dragged from one early part of the season onward. They just aren't. But it was still quality enough with the amazing animation, the beautiful colors, the character designs, the Transformers in this show look so great. You would look at G1 back in the day, or even Beast Wars for that matter, where like Optimus Primal in Beast Wars would just be a fucking monkey, just a big-ass gorilla, and then all of the little compartments would open up and he's this cool-looking robot. You know what I mean? It's kind of cheating. But then you have like G1, most of them would go from cars and turn into just a regular old robot you'd find in Dollar Tree shelves. You know? Just block after block. Megatron in G1, to me, looks like every robot I've ever seen in a Dollar Tree. And maybe that's because they're copying off of it, I don't know. But you get what I mean. Armada is so special with character designs. I don't know if I said it in this attempt to review or not, but this is my favorite version of Optimus Prime ever. It's my favorite Starscream ever. There's a lot of characters in here that I thought I knew the names of, and I didn't. Like, there's a character named Hot Rod, who is yellow and red, and he's a car. And I thought that he was Bumblebee. And then I thought, no, I'm pretty sure there's a hot in his name somewhere. And I thought he's going to be Hot Rod. But, you know, he's not. He's Hot Shot. And I don't know if Hot Shot was in anything previous to this show, I mean. I don't think any of these people were. Red Alert is an ambulance-looking dude. They're kind of the first two that start off with Optimus in this show. But you also have human characters in here. This was the kind of beginning of that, if I remember, aside from G1 having some human characters there. I don't remember if Beast Wars had any human characters. It's been so long, man. But with this show, they have a lot of new stuff they added to Transformers that I thought was really cool at the time, and I still do. Essentially, this time around, you have 3 humans, and once again, like I talked about in my Power Rangers, was it Zeo or Turbo? I think is my Turbo review. You have one of the characters being a Hispanic boy. What's his fucking name? Carlos. What was it with the name Carlos? Everywhere you went in the 90s and in the 2000s, every Hispanic character that was a boy was named fucking Carlos for some reason. But I like Carlos. He's probably one of my favorite human characters. You have a girl, and you also have a main character boy named, I thought his name was Brad. I think his name might actually be Rad, as an R-A-D, like cool, you know? I don't know what's going on with that. I don't really process what his name is. I didn't bother to look it up. I really don't give a shit enough to look it up. But these 3 human characters I like. Eventually you have 2 more that join the group that are kind of the school bullies. One of them being played by Eddie from Ed, Edd n Eddy. And he sounds just like him. If he's screaming and running away from a Transformers shootout, it sounds like Eddie from Ed, Edd n Eddy screaming and running away from Transformers. It's great. And he's always complaining about being hungry. But anyway, these kids, the first 3, actually go into a cave that turns out to be a spaceship that's hidden in like a mountain out in the middle of nowhere. And these kids are allowed to go anywhere they want. Their parents just don't care. And when they're in this cave, they eventually discover these 3 smaller Transformers that are called minicons. That's one of the things this show adds to Transformers lore that I'm sad I haven't seen come back in like the Michael Bay movies and stuff. Maybe it's a copyright thing, I don't know. But it would be cool to see minicons in the movies, you know? So the minicons are small transformers, but when they connect to Autobots or Decepticons, they can actually unlock a new ability for them, which is kind of weird because I don't understand how, when the minicons connect to these bigger robots, how come the bigger robots can't just use that new ability over and over again? And why could they not use like the hidden guns and stuff that they have already on their body that the minicon activates before they met a minicon? I don't really get that. It's kind of stupid. It's part of my logic of this is a children's cartoon that has higher quality feelings to it most of the time. It makes it special in its own way, in my opinion. But they have their own minicons here that they hang out with. Now, the minicons are not on the Autobot side of the war here on Earth, where now Optimus Prime, Hotshot, and Red Alert are here on the Earth. Megatron and his team, Starscream and all of them, they're actually staying on the moon, and they come to Earth and fight the Autobots a lot. There's this war going on to collect as many minicons as possible. Again, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, so you buy as many toys as possible. And the minicons themselves don't really want to be on any side of this war. They kind of just want to be their own thing, be in peace, whatever. But I did not remember the revealings of what the minicons actually were towards the end of the show. I'm not going to tell you about it, but that was really cool, man. I really liked what they revealed later on in the show about these things. Now, the Autobots, as usual, you have Optimus Prime leading them. Great version of Optimus Prime. Peter Cullen didn't come back to play him, nor did Frank Welker come back to play Megatron, but the voice actors they have playing pretty much every character in the show, but especially the guy playing Optimus Prime, I really like his voice for Optimus. It would have been better with Peter Cullen, but this guy does a good job. I think his name is like something Chalk. I didn't look it up. But he's really good. I really, really like this version of Optimus. He is super heroic. I have to laugh, though. If you look at pictures of the show, I don't know if the one I picked for this video or not will show Optimus, because I haven't really picked it out for sure yet. But Optimus, a lot of the time, will do this pose that you see like movie stars do when they're trying to show off their abs. You know? It's kind of like, almost like they're curving their body. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe that's how abs look in real life. I don't have abs, nor do I look at other people's abs, so I don't know. But Optimus does that abs look sometimes, and his abs would be the grill on his stomach. It's very funny to me. But Optimus is so cool in this show, man. He does this one thing where he combines his hands, like he locks them in together like he's about to hit you upside the face, and he has two guns on both sides of his wrists that he shoots this like rainbow atom looking thing at you. It's really cool. I really dig it, man. Now, Hotshot is in this. Like I said, I really like him. Red Alert and Hotshot don't really get along. A lot of the Autobots don't get along in this show. The Decepticons get along more than they do, which is bizarre. Starscream, though. Let me talk about Starscream. I love this version of Megatron. I don't really get what he's supposed to be. Is he a tank or is he a beetle? I don't really get it. He has this beetle-looking head. I don't get it, but it is what it is. But then you have like some of the other Transformers on the Decepticon side that I don't really know how I feel about. Like there's one, I think his name is Demolisher, and he looks like a tank for the military. He's like brown and red. He's a smaller tank or whatever than Megatron is. And he's kind of like comedic relief. So is this one evil helicopter guy. I don't really like either of those characters. They're okay. It's a kid's show, remember that. It's like having Swipe or No Swiping from Dora the Explorer. You know what I mean? Like, obviously he's not the most iconic villain ever. He is not Darth Vader. He is not Khan or whatever, you know? So I can accept them being the comedic humor to the show as well as a lot of the side human characters. But Starscream, bro, Starscream is so great in this show. I think my ranking of top 3 characters in this season for me is Optimus, Hotshot, and then Starscream. But Starscream is almost my second favorite. He is the thing everyone talks about with this show now. That they had taken Starscream, a really annoying character from G1, from the movie in the 80s, and they made him eventually into a really relatable, struggling character who doesn't really know if he believes the evil he does with the Decepticons. I also wonder too, how do people get those emblems of Autobots and Decepticons on them when they're a big robot? Are they programmed that way to be evil or good? I don't really get it, but I've always wondered about that. Like, could you just do kind of like what one sketchy character does in here and just like cross it out, you know? There's a lot of betraying in this show. You know what I mean? There's a lot of characters that even though most of the episodes are kind of standalone, you have some characters that you have to wonder, can you trust this person or not? And that's something I had never seen done in Transformers. So it was a whole new ballpark to people like me. At one point, you basically get this thing, I think it's called the Star Saber, I think, and it's like 3 minicons that are like planes, very small RC drone-looking planes in our world, that connect and turn into basically a lightsaber. So you'll have like lightsaber fights in here sometimes. There's like a sky boom shield, I think is what it is, which is like a shield that can combat that. It lights up yellow and stuff. And I loved these things when I was a kid. Seeing like a lightsaber in Transformers. Why the hell have we not done that in the live action movies yet? If you broke out that lightsaber sword thing in a movie, in a live action Transformers film, people would lose their fucking minds. The Armada fans that are my age would lose their fucking minds. It's great. Now, I talked earlier about some of the critiques that I have about the show. I think there's not enough happening in the show. It has a very common, very often slice of life feel to it. Every episode has some kind of war or battle between the Autobots and Decepticons, but a lot of the time leading up to that, it's characters sitting by a river or going fishing or something, Autobots joking and laughing or repairing their spaceship or something, while the humans go out somewhere and then get caught up into some kind of situation where they need the Autobots to come save them. That is a formula on this season, and it is done over and over again, constantly throughout the show. And that can sometimes be to its detriment, but do you know what saves it? It's the beautiful animation, how smooth it looks, even when they mix a little bit of CGI in there, still looks good, but also the colors, and especially the music. Transformers Armada, to me, has the best version of the theme song of Transformers. You know, if you haven't heard it, you're missing out. It's great. I love that intro to the show. If you haven't heard that, if you haven't heard, like, again, when they're out just fishing and stuff, the music reminds me so much of Naruto, and I refuse to believe that it's either not the same person who did the Naruto music, or someone who's trying to copy that. And inspired by it. I don't care which way it is, but it is such a peaceful song to listen to. It's just like an acoustic guitar and like a little bit of like a synth wavy keyboard in there. I don't know how to explain it, but it's super, super relaxing. And when I would watch this show after work at night before my wife and I would go to bed, I'm not kidding. Sometimes it would kind of lull you into a sleep a little bit because of how peaceful and slice of life it was. And when they get into fights and stuff, there is this song that's kind of the Transformers theme song, but like extended from the intro, and I don't know if I like that one as much. But it kind of gets a little repetitive in that. A lot of the fights get kind of repetitive. There are parts of the fights which to me were amazing when I was a kid to watch these fights, especially when the lightsaber came into combat. But there are a lot of moments where the Transformers are trying to throw down, and a character that's clearly got someone running up to them, they'll just fucking stand there and wait for them. And then the person somehow gets all the way up to them and hits them, and that person falls down. That happens a lot in the earlier part of the show. It gets better later on with the fights and stuff, but man, in the beginning, it's pretty sloppy, it's pretty obnoxious, and it's pretty funny sometimes. Especially trying to have some of these Decepticons be humorous, you know? But at the end of the day, if you love, like, Optimus Prime adoration from Transformers, if you love great storytelling when it comes to a kid's show, this is awesome. If you want to share Transformers that's more of an anime style because of modern day taste, show this show to your kids if you're trying to share it with them, because they're probably not going to like G1 and stuff. They might. They're probably not going to like Beast Wars because of how dated the animation looks from clips I've seen in recent years. But this show gets it right. The problem is, and I really have to emphasize this, I'm not going to go into spoilers. The ending of Armada clearly was made to tie into Energon and eventually, I think, Cybertron or whatever the third show was. It's a bad ending. It's a bad ending to Armada. So knowing that I don't want to watch Energon anytime soon, ending the show where they did here, oh, it's rough, man. It's rough. Just be prepared for that if you're trying to watch this out of your own enjoyment. You know, one of the things for this show, too, I had a few toys I have to complain about here that I didn't really understand until I rewatched it, and I don't think that I missed episodes of this show. Maybe the last couple I didn't see, but I don't remember. So, for example, there was an Evil Optimus Prime toy that I've had for a long time. I mean, a long time. I got it at my great aunt's house for Christmas one year for my family. And I was like, oh, well, it's clearly a redesign of the Optimus Prime toy that I have. It clearly is. And I've been trying to figure out where in the hell is he in the show. And I thought for the longest time he wasn't. I cannot remember for the life of me what he's called. It's like Optimus... I don't know, Optimus Knievel. I'm just going to make it up. But anyway, he's not a good guy. But when he shows up in here, I was so disappointed with what they revealed about that monster toy that I had that I loved. It's such a great toy. If you haven't seen this version of Optimus, you totally got to look into it. It's really, really cool looking with all the black and gray. But then you have an issue that later on in the show, there's this big event that comes through. Something that could destroy Cybertron and Earth. I don't want to spoil that for you either. It's really, really cool, though, this event that comes up. But to sell more toys, and I had a lot of these other toys that came out, they redesigned the characters with some magic hippy-dippy bullshit. Where, like, for example, Starscream, instead of being red and, like, gray and black and yellow, now he's, like, blue and orange, and it's such an ugly redesign. Demolisher's redesign is ugly. Megatron, who becomes Galvatron for some reason, I don't think they ever gave a reason why his name became Galvatron at that point. Aside from being a new remodel, I don't think anybody else changed their names, just Megatron. The Megatron design is ugly as shit when that happens. And it's not like they become completely different Transformer monsters. Like, Megatron doesn't go from being a tank into the Galvatron massive gun in the sky or anything. You know what I mean? Like, what? Why? Why? You know what it was? It was so they could take the toy models they already had and just repaint them a different color. That's what it was. If you had the Ultra Magnus toy from back in the G1 days, you know it was a white Optimus Prime that you put onto the back of this plastic piece of paper, essentially. It was so thin. And you put a cap on top of that white Optimus's head. And I still don't understand what the point of that was. Is that Ultra Magnus? Is that what his name was from the 80s movie? The one that became the new leader before Hot Rod became Rodimus Prime or whatever? I can't remember. Anyway, the new redesigns of everybody, at least the Decepticons by the end of the show, I hate them. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think Hot Rod and Red Alert got redesigns too. Anyway, I don't like any of the new designs that anybody got towards the end of the show. The beginning of the show to like up to that, I love them. I think there's some of the classic designs like Hot Rod and Optimus, the Decepticons, most of them. They're great and iconic looks for a lot of these characters. Throughout the show, you get more and more minicons and bigger regular Transformers like Sideways. And their designs are really cool. Sideways is just like an evil motorcycle guy, but we don't even know if he's good or evil because he's so wish-washy. And deliberately so. But he's awesome. He has like this minicon, but it's not really a minicon, that he wears as a helmet, and it looks like its legs are horns. It's really cool, dude. I really, really, really like the designs of the stuff here. There's one character from the 80s movie that shows up in here later on. And this character, the redesign for it, I think is really sick. I like it a lot. I had a toy of it as a kid, matter of fact. There's a car named Blur that I like a whole lot. There's so many great designs in here, man, of supercars and all of this stuff. And I really, really love and appreciate that about the show. But the show has its flaws. Most people who love Transformers as adults or who love like the live action movies and stuff, if they watch this, I'd be willing to bet they probably won't like it that much. I just suspect they won't. It's not going to be for everybody. But overall, at the end of the day, I really like Transformers Armada. I'm a little sad that my original 2 box sets that I bought a few years back I hadn't watched until now. have a couple of episodes that died. You know, they were, apparently the disc had like one tiny little scratch there, so those discs didn't work. It was always the last disc of both of those box sets. And before I realized I had the complete series already, I had bought a $20 set at Walmart that they're still selling right now. And it was $20, like I said. So those episodes I couldn't watch, I had to pop in the disc from the new release that I bought and watch them. So I'll probably have to get rid of my old box sets. There's no point to keep them at that point. But like, what do you do with that? Do you throw them in the trash because you can't use them because of those missing episodes? Or do you try to give them to a kid you know? But will the parents be smart enough to go to the DVD menu and skip the episode that's not working? I don't know. There's a lot to think about with that. I don't think I'm going to keep them, but I don't know what to do with those. But I do plan on keeping the newer set that works just fine, because this show is phenomenal for the most part, depending on what you like. So anyway, let me know what you think down below about Transformers Armada, its upcoming series after it, like Energon, that I don't think I'm ever going to watch again, but maybe I'll try Cybertron, I don't know. Let me know what you think about all that. Let me know what you think about Transformers in general, the Michael Bay movies, all of that stuff. I'd love to hear everything you have to say down below. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.